show you how to separate and divide Welsh onions. These are my Welsh onions here in a handy tub. You can see this is last year's onions, this dead papery material. We can get rid of all that now, because the young onions are already coming up. You can divide these onions at any time you like in the year, but spring is the best. That's because it's got all of its energy invested in the roots just before it starts really going for it in spring. So I'm just going to dig one up to show you. So here is my Welsh onion. And you can see already that it's got two stems to it, so it's going to be really easy for us to split this one. Just gently pull it apart. You will feel inside that it's got almost like cloves to it. Pull it apart, and then you can plant both of those and it will grow more again next year. There's another one. That's the old one from last year. This one's got 3 sections, so we're going to try and get all 3 of those. You do want to try and make sure that they all have a little bit of root. So there we go, that one's got some really good root on it, that one. Try the other one. So it's a bit like shallots in that they split off. That one's got some good root. This one didn't get any root in it, but it's not a waste. It can still survive. So let's plant it anyway and see what happens. So it can be a little bit tricky, but don't worry. They're really resilient. Welsh onions will grow almost anywhere in almost any soil conditions. They do prefer it if you give them a good water and a good liquid feed, particularly a fish feed. But they're not that fussy. They're really good for growing absolutely anywhere. In a tub, as you can see, in the ground is also fine. You can eat them like you would eat spring onions. You can harvest the whole thing in the spring and summer later on, and chop up the whole thing like you would normally deal with a spring onion. Alternatively, you can cut the leaves and it'll grow again, a bit like chives. So if you don't want to dig them up, you can just keep cutting the leaves and use it that way, and it's very much a cut and come again crop, so that's quite handy. I started off with 1 Welsh onion from the Mother Gardens some years ago now, and now I have more Welsh onions than I know what to do with. So I'll be taking some of these out of my tub because there won't be enough space for all of them, and handing some out to people who want them. So I've probably doubled my onions again this year. Sometimes it even triples or quadruples them, but this year it's just been double. That's not too bad. And I'm gonna start replanting them back in the tub with a bit of distance again, and then this time next year they will have split off enough for me to do the same thing again. So all I'm doing is I'm making a hole, I'm popping it in, I make sure the green stuff is outside of the soil. So here you can see they're all planted up now. It's a lot more densely packed than it was. I've got quite a bit more. It's probably more densely packed than I normally would do it, but it's totally fine. They don't mind. I'm not putting them immediately next to each other because I want to make sure that they do have a little bit of room to grow and bunch out, and that's also why sometimes they're referred to as bunching onions, because they do make these little bunches, a bit like shallots or garlic cloves, growing together. So I've just separated them all out, and then when they get to be about maybe this high, you want about 4 to 6 inches high, then they're ready to just start cutting and eating. So there we go.